Okay, great. You can give them the countdown. Let me know when we're live. Okay, aloha kakahiaka kako, and welcome. Aloha kakahiaka kako, and welcome everyone to the meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. Today is Monday, July 6, 2026. The time now is 10:04 a.m. Board Secretary, please confirm attendance via roll call vote.
Trustee Akina.
Aloha mai kako.
Trustee Alapa.
Present.
Trustee Galuteria.
Yo.
Trustee Lindsay. Trustee Souza.
Yo.
Trustee Waihe'e.
Present.
Chair Kahele.
Present.
You have 9 trustees. You have quorum.
Okay, trustees, the quorum is present. This meeting has been duly noticed in accordance with the Hawaii Revised Statutes, Chapter 92, the State Sunshine Law. The agenda for today's meeting has been publicly posted as required by law. This meeting can be viewed via live stream on OHA's website at www.oha.org/livestream and also on Olelo TV. The chair would like to now call Keishan Kikina, the Chief Operations Officer for the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, to the table to recognize key staff that are in attendance.
Aloha kakahiaka kako, mahalo nui trustees no keia halavai. This morning we have with us from administration our interim administrator and CEO Summer Silva, our general counsel Everett Ota, and our associate general counsel Rosella Gog. Mahalo.
Okay, mahalo Keishan. And chair would like to now recognize the Vice Chair Souza, to recognize any members in the boardroom, on the Board of Trustees, staff, and staff support.
Mahalo, Mr. Chair. We have Board Secretary Lehua Itokauzu. We have Chair's Aide, Pamela Knapp. We have the Interim Chief of Staff, Alina Ayong. We also have the Board Counsel, Kapono Kiakona. Mahalo.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chair Souza. Trustees, our first item on the agenda is the executive session. Lehua, is there anyone of the general public that has signed up to speak on the agenda item, item number 2, the executive session, item number A?
Yes, we have one person online. We have Ohana Unity Party.
Okay, great. Please welcome Pikachu to the Zoom so that he can testify.
Hello, my kako. Good morning, kakayaka. Good to see you all, trustees. Pikachu Shelby Billionaire. So I went over the lawsuit, and due to sunshine laws, I know you have to go to an executive session. My concern is, as a candidate, what Stacy is saying in the lawsuit, I cannot prove the allegations or disprove them, but it does make me feel like I cannot trust, it's a state entity. We don't got to go to the Hawaiian Kingdom, all blah, 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 blah. But if it's going to accuse the state or board members of fraud, and there's no way to back it up, and we can't discuss it openly. I'm only asking, like you've seen my written testimony, because I'm concerned for the future, for people who want to become an OHA trustee or current members, future lawsuits and other litigations that will complicate matters where we're trying to hui up, collaborate together, and unify the community. And, Chair Kaela, I respect you. We have Air Force background. You're still in the service, and a lot of stuff we can't discuss openly, but I'm hoping after, with whatever is public record, you guys can publicly disclose what you can, so we can protect all beneficiaries, trustees, and future things and make things pono and right. So I'll leave the rest to you guys. I know you have executive session. So shout out to all of you guys. We'll see you in the future. And if you can, discount the Hawaiian Council $300 tickets, because those are too expensive for our beneficiaries to attend the council meeting convention they're going to have this month. If OHA can offset that, because I know you use Hawaiian Council, when the funds come into the state to help our people, I believe that Hawaiian Council should divvy it up to and help back for our people. That's all I got to say. So thank you very much. You guys have a beautiful day and a beautiful week. Chiru! Aloha.
Okay, thank you, Pikachu. Lehua, has anyone else signed up to speak on this agenda item?
No one else has their hand up to speak on this item.
Okay, great. Trustees, before we proceed with the substance of today's meeting, the chair will make a motion to convene an executive session pursuant to Hawaii Revised Statutes 92-5A4, which permits the board to consult with its attorneys on questions and issues pertaining to the board's powers, duties, privileges, immunities, and liabilities, and pursuant to 92-5A2 to consider matters involving the discipline of a board member, where consideration of matters affecting privacy will be involved. The purpose of the executive session today is to discuss the unauthorized filing of docket 162 in the Ferreira versus the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, civil number 1 CCV 25001822, including the board's legal rights and obligations with respect to that filing, the governance implications under the executive policy manual, and any action the board may take in response thereto. So the chair has made a motion to go into executive session. That motion is now on the table, and I will open it up for discussion from any trustees before calling for a vote. Lehua, is there any trustees that have raised their hand to be recognized?
No one has raised their hand.
Okay, roll call vote.
Trustee Ahuna.
Aye.
Trustee Akaka.
A'ole.
Trustee Akina.
A'ole.
Trustee Alapa. Trustee Lindsay.
No.
Trustee Galuteria.
Aye.
Trustee Souza.
Aye.
Trustee Waihe'e.
Yeah.
Chair Kahele.
Aye.
I have 5 yes votes and 4 no votes. Motion.
Okay, mahalo, trustees. The motion to enter executive session does not carry.
Does not carry.
Pursuant to Hawaii Revised Statutes 92-3, we will now proceed in open session. I want to note for the record that although this matter involves sensitive governance and legal issues that the chair believes are appropriate for the executive session, the board has determined to conduct this discussion publicly. Accordingly, all trustees, staff, counsel, and members of the public, including the media, are welcome to remain. I remind all participants that attorney-client privilege matters and confidential executive session materials shall not be disclosed during this open session, consistent with the Executive Policy Manual 1.3 C through E and 3.11 C. We will now proceed with the substance of today's agenda in an open session. So the next item on our agenda is new business, item number A. This will be the discussion and possible board action regarding non-privileged matters relating to the authorization and filing of court documents in the Stacy Kealohalani Ferreira versus the Office of Hawaiian Affairs civil suit. Lehua, do we have any members of the public sign up to speak on this agenda item?
No one is signed up to speak on this item. Oh, no. I'm sorry, one person just put their hand up. We have Ohana Unity Party.
Okay. Assuming this is Pikachu again, we'll welcome him to the open session for his public testimony.
Summary and brief, because the allegations are serious with the case matters, but I am concerned being a future trustee and for the current trustees what's going down. So my only suggestion, because you guys decided to have to open the session, is to have the full financial disclosure of the numbers, because I don't know anyone from Timbuktu. I don't trust anyone's word. I just run it through the AI and it spits out the numbers. So even when I run by the lawsuit by AI, it tells me not to say anything, to be nice and let you guys hash things out like I sent you guys in the email for fiduciary responsibilities for the beneficiaries, blah, 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 blah. But like Kelly Akina, when we do the red flags and the stuff, we're just going to run the numbers. So I just hope you guys have full disclosure and just run the numbers by AI. It's in Excel. It's easier for me. Income in green, expenses red, auto sum. And then there you go. Your total assets, $853 million. We're not talking about 20%, and how you allocate the funds is none of my business. But you guys know where it should be going because you guys are the trustees, the CEO. You guys have been there longer than me. But I can run it by AI real fast and tell you guys the numbers. So I'll leave you guys back to executive session. I'll continue watching on Facebook. I'm reposting this live for all of you guys so we can figure out what's going on. So thank you very much. I won't waste your time again. So please continue. Aloha.
Okay, thank you, Pikachu. Lehua, is there anyone else signed up to speak on item number 3, new business A?
No one else has signed up to speak.
Okay, great. All right, trustees, I'd just like to lay some foundational groundwork for item A under new business. This Board of Trustees meeting has been called by the chair for a single purpose, and that is to address the unauthorized filing of docket number 162 in the Ferreira versus the Office of Hawaiian Affairs case in the Circuit Court of the First Circuit State of Hawaii. On June 26, 2026, Trustees Carmen Hulu-Lindsay, Kalea Kaka, Keli'ia Kina, and Luana Alapa, through counsel at Goodsill, Anderson, Quinn, and Stifel LLP, who were not authorized by this board or the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, filed, and I quote, an answer to first amended complaint, purporting to act in their, and I quote, official capacities as OHA trustees. This filing was made without any board authorization, without a duly noticed meeting, without notification to the chairperson of the board or to OHA's duly authorized counsel of record in this matter, Denton's U.S. LLP. The board has already taken action through its authorized counsel. On June 29, 2026, OHA filed a motion to strike docket 162 as unauthorized and non-binding on the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. Additionally, the Vice Chair Souza, has filed a code of conduct complaint under Appendix 7 of the Executive Policy Manual. Today, we will discuss the factual record, the policy violations implicated, and then vote on an action directing the withdrawal of the unauthorized filing and reaffirming the board's governance framework. Now, before opening for discussion, I want to place certain facts into the record so that all trustees and the public have a clear understanding of the sequence of events and the board actions that have been violated. Number one, on April 2nd, 2026, the Office of Hawaiian Affairs Board of Trustees voted on a litigation strategy in this matter. At a duly noticed meeting conducted in accordance with HRS Chapter 92, the full Board of Trustees determined and ratified OHA's authorized litigation strategy in the Ferreira matter. Specifically, the board, number one, authorized OHA's defense strategy, including the filing of a motion to dismiss and motion to compel arbitration. Number two, authorized Denton's U.S. LLP as OHA's counsel of record. Number three, ratified all court documents filed by Denton's in furtherance of that strategy. And number four, affirmed that positions taken by trustees in their official capacities must align with duly adopted board positions. On May 28, 2026, the Office of Hawaiian Affairs Board of Trustees voted to enter into mediation in this matter. On May 28, 2026, the board voted 8-0 unanimously to mediate with the plaintiff, Stacy Ferreira. This was a duly agendized item and was approved without any dissent from the trustees present at that time. Number C, the unauthorized filing of docket 162 on June 26, 2026. On June 26, 2026, without any board authorization, without a duly noticed meeting, and without notifying the chairperson of the board or OHA's counsel of record, trustees Lindsay, Akaka, Akina, and Alapa filed docket 162 through Goodsill, Anderson, Quinn, and Stifel LLP. The filing purports to be an official capacity answer, meaning under well-established law, it purports to speak for OHA itself. The content of that filing is extraordinary. It admits liability on OHA's behalf. It supports the plaintiff's claim for damages. It purports to waive attorney-client privilege and supports disclosure of executive session minutes. It directly contradicts both the April 2nd vote to compel arbitration and the May 28 unanimous vote to enter into mediation. Subsequent events also happened on June 26, 2026, is when the Office of Hawaiian Affairs authorized counsel Denton's U.S. LLP sent a demand letter to Goodsill's attorney, Mr. John S. Mackey, requiring immediate withdrawal of docket 162. On June 28, 2026, Goodsill, through Mr. Mackey, informed Denton's that the four trustees, who I previously named, refused to withdraw the filing. And the next day, on June 29, 2026, the Office of Hawaiian Affairs filed its motion to strike 162 as unauthorized and non-binding on OHA. The chair would now like to open the floor for discussion amongst the trustees, and I do ask that all remarks be directed through the chair and that we maintain decorum appropriate to the seriousness of this matter. Before recognizing speakers, I want to highlight two specific board actions that have been directly violated by docket 162. The first is the violation of Board Action Number 1, April 2nd, 2026, the authorization of litigation strategy. And I quote, "The Board voted to ratify all court documents filed by Dentons in the Ferreira litigation, affirming that such filings reflect the will and authorized position of the Board of Trustees of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, that ratify and confirm it is the will of the Board to proceed with mediation followed by arbitration as required under Stacy Ferreira's employment agreement. This is consistent with the position set forth in defendant's motion to dismiss docket number 56, filed on December 16, 2025, to authorize and instruct the General Counsel and our designated legal counsel to appear in court as necessary to affirm that the legal positions of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs are those set forth in the filings submitted by Dentons and only Dentons, and to affirm that positions taken by trustees in their official capacity must align with the duly adopted positions of the Board of Trustees and the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, and direct that any court filings submitted by trustees in their official capacity that are inconsistent with or contrary to the positions adopted by the Board of Trustees shall be withdrawn." That Board of Trustees vote was 5-4. Docket 162 filed an answer that is directly contrary to this strategy. It admits liability rather than defending the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, and it undermines a pending motion to compel arbitration. The second violated Board Action Number 2 was done on May 28, 2026, which was, as I will remind you, a unanimous vote by this Board of those present to mediate by 8-0. The Board voted unanimously to mediate with Stacy Ferreira as agreed in her employment contract. Docket 162 admits liability and supports the plaintiff's claims for damages, actions wholly inconsistent with a mediation posture and directly harmful to OHA's position in any mediation. I also want to note for the record that the filing violates multiple provisions of our executive policy manual, including but not limited to Section 1.2b, the individual or collective statements by trustees outside a duly called meeting have no authority in OHA's operations. Section 1.3b, duties of care, loyalty, and obedience require dedication to OHA's mission and compliance with policies. Section 1.3j, that trustees have decision-making authority only when acting in a duly called and agendized meeting. Section 3.11c, that no trustee may waive attorney-client privilege by individual action. Section 3.11.h through I, that board authorization is required for retention of legal counsel. Appendix 7, Subpart 1A5 also says that once the board has acted, trustees are expected to uphold and support those decisions. Appendix 7, Subpart 1A3 also says that no board member has the authority to solely act on his or her own. I'll also remind our trustees that we adopted the revised version and now the current version of the Executive Policy Manual by unanimous vote last September 2025. I also want to note for the record that the filing of Docket 162 was not the act of a single trustee acting alone. It was a coordinated action by 4 trustees, Trustees Lindsay, Akaka, Akina, and Alapa, who collectively retained outside counsel, instructed that counsel to prepare and file a substantive legal pleading in their official capacities, and did so without notice to the chair, to board counsel, or to this board. That level of coordination and collaboration among 4 members of a 9-member board, constituting nearly a quorum, could not have occurred without discussions, meetings, or serial communications among those trustees regarding OHA business. Under Hawaii Revised Statutes Chapter 92, when members of a board interact, discuss, or deliberate toward a decision on matters over which they have supervision, control, or authority, the Sunshine Law's requirements for public notice and open meetings apply. The coordinated decision to file Docket 162, retaining counsel, authorizing the pleading, and directing its filing constitutes board business that required compliance with Hawaii Revised Statutes 92-3 and 92-7. No such meeting occurred. This raises serious concerns that the coordination underlying Docket 162 may have violated the state Sunshine Law, in addition to the substantive governance violations internal to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs here to address today. So at this time, I'd like to now open the floor for discussion. I'd like to recognize trustees in the order that they signal to the board secretary. Board Secretary Lehua, please let me know who has raised their hand first. for discussion.
Trustee Souza has his hand up.
Okay, Trustee Souza, you're
Mahalo, Mr. Chair. Mahalo lehua. Mr. Chair, I'd like to start this off by saying, we're asking everyone who cares about OHA's mission to understand what's really at stake here and allow us the discretion to handle this through appropriate governance channels. We're grateful to OHA supporters for refraining from speculation or taking sides when most facts are still privileged and protected. OHA has weathered disagreement, political change, and hard decisions for decades because every trustee who has served on this board respected, at a certain time, baseline governance norms. Trustees who have served the longest know these principles very well and have themselves helped uphold them in times of challenge. No CEO, trustee, or dispute is exempt from rules, processes, and institutional responsibilities that govern us all. And Mr. Chair, I'd also like to make note that these rules and policies were voted on, adopted unanimously by this board. Mahalo nui.
Thank you, Vice Chair Souza. Trustee Ahuna?
Thank you, Chair. First of all, for me, it's quite confusing and embarrassing. How is any of this healthy for our lahui is my question. And every trustee has had a voice and has exercised it in the board meetings and board votes. No one has been silenced. Every trustee has had repeated opportunities to speak, dissent, and make their views known. Any trustee's silence has been their own choice. Dissenting views were not only heard, they had at times led the rest of us to exercise greater restraint and caution than the record may have otherwise justified. That's what good faith governance looks like. Those same dissenting voices help shape the very decisions now being challenged. At the same time, our code of conduct discourages publicly undermining OHA, harming its credibility, or damaging its reputation and the reputation of fellow trustees. On Kauai, we say, turn around, don't drown. If you want to drown, come on down. But this is pilau, this is heva. Nothing positive or nothing good about it. This really saddens me. Thank you.
Thanks, Trustee Ahuna. Who has anyone else have their hand raised?
Yeah,
Trustee Galuteria.
thank you.
Okay, allow Trustee Galtieri.
Thank you very much. I want to know one thing from any one of you folks. What are you thinking? What's the purpose of this entire exercise? I'm not understanding it. I don't get it. I've worked in bodies where the majority, in this case, 5-4. You guys can't count or what? This is how it works. So if you're dissenting, you don't go get another counsel. That is like the weirdest. I think that even the counsel that represents the board is, even they're saying, I don't get it. So when this guy comes in and he speaks on your behalf, who is he speaking for? He's not speaking for the board. Yeah, right. So what's the deal? I mean, and on top of all of that, and this is for the press too, you guys better write down that Stacy is getting paid. All right? She's getting paid. So understand that. That's a big function right there. Put it down in print. And then secondly, I'm not pleased at the destabilizing of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, especially when it comes to some major moves that's coming. Okay, we got $55 million coming. Legislature is watching us. We can't screw it up, guys, because there's a longer game here. Short game, 55 come over. Longer game, we raise the cap and we get our 20%. That's the play. Don't you guys see that? Everybody's watching. So for your short game, we're going to blow the long game? What the heck is that? What kind of politicians are you folks? On top of that, we got, I mean, for heaven's sakes, we've done good work as a board. We brought the parity up, pay parity, to Senate and House levels. And now we are, in my opinion, we're appealing to some really great leadership who now want to run for OHA. And they're going to run for this? Think about what you guys are doing. And I'd like to hear some response too. Because three of us have already spoken. The chair's spoken. I'm not sure if Chair Wahe is going to say anything. But I just wanted to share that with you folks. From a political perspective, you guys are blowing it, man. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Chair Galataire. Lehua, anyone else signed up to or have raised their hand to speak? And if not, then I'm going to call up legal counsel, both Denton's legal team as well as OHA's internal counsel. I see Trustee Akina's hand raised.
Yes.
So, yeah, Trustee Akina, I'm going to recognize you in a second, but for our Denton's legal team as well as our general counsel, after Trustee Akina's comments, I'd like our legal team, internal and external, to come up so that they can provide any further information for the board regarding this unauthorized filing by the four aforementioned trustees. So, Trustee Akina, thank you so much for raising your hand. We look forward to hearing what you have to say. You're right.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate the opportunity. I begin today, as I always begin at our board meetings, with a certain presumption I make about each and every one of you who sit around this table or are here virtually. Can you hear me? That presumption is of goodwill. I believe that each and every one of my colleagues, my fellow trustees, is here to fulfill fiduciary duty. And that fiduciary duty has been determined for us by the Constitution of the state of Hawaii, by the Hawaii Revised Statutes, and by our own bylaws. Sometimes it's not clear what the fiduciary duty is, but I do want to say that that binds us together. We're not here for ourselves as individuals. We're here for the Lahui, and that's the important thing. I want to clarify that we're not here for the board. Our highest duty is not our obedience or allegiance to the board. It's not our singularity of voice. Our highest duty is to the beneficiaries. And that is the only reason I have spoken out. Chair has seen it fit to bring many of the details of our discussions that have been in private to the table today. I will not respond to all of them because I would request respectfully to have a copy of what Chair has brought so that I may respond systematically. But there are some things which need to be responded to. First, I have made, and the reason I say I is that I don't carry any capacity with which to represent other trustees, although they may agree with me. I have made no challenge to the governing structure of the board. I recognize that the board in its majority determine policy. Secondly, I have made no attempt, and I don't believe my colleagues who've done what I've done have made any attempt to say we are representing the board or to say that we are representing the official position of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. Instead, we have spoken out as individual trustees. We have used our First Amendment right, and all we have done is responded truthfully, as our consciences would guide, to questions raised in the deliberations concerning the Ferreira versus OHA case. And let me say that again. We've spoken simply in terms of our own personal responses, truthfully, to questions that have been raised. The fiduciary duty to our OHA beneficiaries, as well as to the Constitution, have guided anything that I have said. It has been the purpose I have said anything, and that's all it is. This is very important, and this is the motivation behind everything. I'd like to further state that the complaint against us is yet another effort by the chair and the majority to improperly silence 4 trustees as they exercise their own fiduciary responsibilities to try to correct breaches of fiduciary duty by the chair and the majority. Chair referred to an answer filed by the 4 of us in terms of Stacy Ferreira's first amended complaint. In that answer, the trustees have not purported to act in an official capacity to bind OHA, to waive OHA-held privileges, or disclose confidential board communications, as he asserts. The 4 trustees have only taken positions in the Ferreira litigation in their legal official capacities as individual trustees, when so doing has been in furtherance of our fiduciary duties and the beneficiaries of the trust. The chair and majority have breached their fiduciary duties to operate the trust in a lawful manner. Specifically, the chair and majority are maintaining an ongoing violation of the Hawaii Whistleblowers Protection Act, the HWPA, by having placed OHA CEO Stacy Ferreira on indefinite paid leave based on a complaint by the chair which retaliated against Ferreira for her protected whistleblowing. Vice Chair Souza's complaint, the now established pattern, shows the now established pattern of retaliation by the chair and majority and their counsel against those who would report, call attention to, or seek to correct legal violations by the chair and the majority. Indeed, Vice Chair Souza's current complaint and any adverse action that might be taken on it would almost certainly constitute a new violation of the Hawaii Whistleblowers Protection Act, this time with the 4 trustees as aggrieved public employees. For the above reason, for the beneficiaries, for the sake of OHA, I would urge the withdrawal of the complete complaint by Vice Chair Souza, or its dismissal should it be taken up in any way by the board in the future. I look forward to a full response, to providing a full response to what Chair has said today. And in the meantime, I'll simply state that such response has been given in a letter of July 1st, 2026 by my attorney, John McKay. All trustees should have that, and that should be something available should it be allowed to go to the public. I don't know the answer to that, but it's available. I'll close with this. In response to the complaint by Trustee Souza, I stand on the written statement to the chair made in this letter I referred to on July 1st, 2026 by attorney John McKay. Question has been raised as to motive. I want to go back to something I believe with all my heart. I don't believe, fellow trustees, we're on opposite sides. I believe that we have all entered public service and service to the Lahui for the same reason, for the good of the Lahui, out of our fiduciary duty to the beneficiaries. We've come to a point where we disagree as to what that is, but I hope we can conduct ourselves civilly and that we can find a resolution for the sake of the beneficiaries of OHA. Mr. Chair, thank you for allowing me to express myself.
Thanks so much, Trustee Aquino. Before going to Trustee Souza, there's a lot to unpack there. So I'd like to call up our legal team of the Denton's law firm, who should be there in attendance, as well as Everett Ota, our general counsel, to address some of the finer points that Trustee Aquino stated into the record. Aloha, Joe.
Aloha, Chair. Thank you. Aloha, Vice Chair.
Uh,
Trustees. Good morning.
So, Joe, could you brief Denton's LLP is the OHA retained board counsel in reference to this matter. Can you speak to docket number 162 that was filed without this board's authorization, and some of the things that were asserted in the previous testimony as it relates to this docket?
Yes, thank you, Chair. As you mentioned in your opening statements, and I would refer everybody to those, the 162 was an answer that was filed on the June 29th, 26th, without any board action. We have filed a motion to strike. I would refer everybody to that motion to strike for our position on it. Since this is open session, public session, I don't want to comment too much on anything further than that. Anybody, the answer is public record. It does make admissions that are contrary to the facts in the record. It makes admissions against folks that are named individually by people that are not named individually, which is probably one of the biggest problems of it. And the motion to compel arbitration, which was filed by my firm, the motion to dismiss the case, those were all filed in court following agendized meeting items, following open discussion, following dissent, and then following a board vote on those, carrying resolutions and motions to authorize my filings. And that none of those procedures happened in the filing of 162, which is the answer. So that's what I can provide.
Okay, thanks, Joe. In Everett or Joe, in the docket 162 that was filed, Trustee Aquino claims that they were filed in their individual capacities and had nothing to do with their position as official OHA trustees or representing the position of the Office of Foreign Affairs. Can you clarify that, or make sure that the general public and this board is crystal clear? And if that docket number 162 is represented in the way that Trustee Aquino represented it in?
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, trustees. The answer clearly states that the document was filed in the official capacities for trustees Lindsay, Akaka, Alapa, and Aquino.
Okay, and whether it is in our Hawaii revised statutes or the internal board governance, how could that occur in their official capacities when no board action was taken? They are unable to take positions in their official capacities contrary to the board's official positions. Help me understand that. How could that occur without violating, whether it is our internal board governance, whether it's our bylaws, executive policy manual that gain its authority from the Hawaii revised statutes, which ultimately gains its authority from the state's constitution?
Chair, to your question again, I think as Joe mentioned earlier, refer to the Denton's motion to strike as the basis for what we believe to not be an authorized filing that purports to speak on behalf of the board members in their official capacities as extensions of this office and the overall Board of Trustees. there's anything maybe more to highlight from Denton's. Maybe
No, I would
defer to
just
Joe.
refer to the motion to strike, and everybody has a copy of my letter to their counsel, Mr. Mackey, or perhaps it's McKay. I've pronounced it Mackey, but of June 26th, the same date of the filing.
Okay, and Joe, for the record, because of the numerous filings that had occurred in such a short period of time, there was a convening of parties, and this has now been delayed until early August. Is that correct?
August 6th is the hearing date on multiple motions in the Ferreira litigation, yes.
Okay, let me ask another question. What does filing a court document in a trustee's official capacity say or attempt to represent about the agency and the board's official opinion?
Well, under the bylaws, or the executive policy manual, in their official capacity, they're speaking for OHA. What that does is it's really a protection for individual trustees when acting in their official capacities. And so to get that protection of individual trustees in their official capacities, that's why it requires noticed, agendized action items with a vote. And so the statute is designed to protect individual trustees from the actions they do here from lawsuits by the public. And so when it's filed without, then it calls into question all of the procedures that are part of the executive policy manual and OHA's procedures.
Okay, and just so I'm clear, we're clear that this filing was not authorized and not supported by the board or permitted by our governance documents.
I knew
That would
nothing.
be forever.
I knew nothing about this until I got the notice in the litigation. So, and as you know, I've been participating.
Okay, and just so I'm clear, this board had taken, like I said earlier, an 8-0 unanimous vote to enter into mediation. Is that okay? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so when Trustee Aquino talks about fiduciary duties and good faith, is there anything good faith about filing a legal pleading without prior notice to beneficiaries, without prior notice to the Board of Trustees, or without even informing board legal counsel, the Denton's team, that this filing was going to occur?
Well, I think that's for the board to decide today. And I can tell you that it is
And-
impaired my ability to defend OHA in the case.
And I would argue that there's no fulfilling fiduciary duties by filing court documents that are in violation of the state sunshine law. They're in violation of governance documents that get its authority from the state's Hawaii revised statutes and the state's constitution. That there's no fulfilling fiduciary duties by violating ethics codes or code of conduct or board action, but only breaching them. And that is why we are here today. Vice.
Well, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Joel. Thank you, Everett. I want to say this, and I mean this genuinely. When I want to tell the members of the public, the media who's here today, everyone who's watching, don't be fooled. Do not be fooled by someone talking nice, stating on the record certain things that are not true. Trustee Aquino, you obviously read something that was prepared by Attorney John Mackey. And he obviously stands by his filing that was filed by Kalea Kaka, Trustee Akaka, in her individual and official capacity. So what I would advise is potentially take it with a grain of salt if it's coming from Mackey's firm or Mackey himself. You started off by saying you're not clear on what OHA's fiduciary responsibility is. Trustee Aquino, I'd like to say that you are in your third term, well within your third term here at OHA. And aside from trying to dismantle OHA, now I realize that you're just unclear of what your job actually is. I want that on record. I've seen it, I haven't said it. Now I'm saying it because you said it. You are not clear on what your job is, Trustee Aquino. And it's not your fault. It's not your fault. You're busy doing other things. That's counterproductive to what's happening here at OHA. I advise you to maybe put in more time in learning what your job is, doing your homework ahead of action items, agendized items. That's what we need as leaders here on this board. I signed up for this not to deal with people trying to bring down the organization. This leadership team has made strides. Since I've been here, Chair Kahele, myself as a vice chair, Trustee Danahuna, Trustee Waihe'e, and Trustee Briku Galaterio, we're the leadership team. And go figure, we're also the majority. Trying to move things in the right direction. We're finally there. But it's unfortunate that because we took over leadership, people don't agree. We took seats. We took seats away from people. Now it's personal, and it became personal all of a sudden. The only people, I'm going to say this again, are suffering is our beneficiaries out there. They're truly suffering right now. As we're making progress, created relationships that were broken by members of this board, leadership on this board. We've strived to repair those relationships. Now, I'm going to say, we want to talk about individual and official capacity. A lot of those relationships I had to rebuild in my individual capacity, on my own time, to support OHA, the organization that I signed up to protect, to work for, so that we can get things done for our beneficiaries. We take 10 steps forward and then 20 steps back when these kind of things happen. People are looking. There's a certain group of people who are looking to pounce on OHA. Every time something negative comes up in the media or something they hear from a trustee that gets leaked out, we're here to do one job and protect our beneficiaries from also especially leaders like this, who is trying to dismantle OHA. It's counterproductive to what we're trying to do. Again, this board has adopted policies, procedures, rules unanimously. I would assume that when you vote for something and support it, you understand what it is. I will not sit here, Trustee Aquino, and listen to lies. Members of the public who is watching should not be here listening to lies. My question, Mr. Chair, if I may ask one before I end. How is 4 members of a 9-member Board of Trustees able to make a decision and file something with the courts saying that all 4 members agree? How do you guys agree? Understanding that there's a thing called sunshine law that we must adhere to, and we must agendize a meeting. We heard the last meeting, we voted unanimously to go into mediation. That was the board decision. That was the decision that the Board of Trustees made on behalf of the organization. So my question would be, how did 4 trustees make a decision to file with their attorney, who's representing supposedly in their individual capacity, which is untrue? For the record, it is untrue. The only attorney representing this organization is Denton's. So, members of the public, the media, trustees here on this table, I'd like to know how you were able to avoid sunshine law and circumvent policies, rules, and procedures, because I'm sure future trustees, Keiki sitting in Aho Pio even, would like to know how to get around rules of boards, small boards, large boards. How were you guys able to do that? And I would like to hear from one of the 4 on how you were able to file something without this board and this organization. Maybe Trustee Aquino can answer that for me, Mr. Chair.
Sure. Trustee Aquino, you're recognized.
Mr. Chair, thank you for recognizing me. I would like to have the same privilege that you and the majority have at this time, to have an attorney present to help to explain the actions that I've taken and to interpret some of the statements made by the other attorneys. May I ask John Mackey to the table, Mr. Chair?
That request is denied at this time, Trustee Aquino, unless what you're saying is that Mr. Mackey was not authorized to file docket 162 on behalf of yourself and the other trustees. If he was not authorized to do that, then I would welcome him to the table. But if he was authorized to do that, then I think as the duly elected member of the Board of Trustees, as well as the other three of your colleagues, I'd be happy to hear what you have to say. I think
Well,
that's what we're all waiting for.
All I'm asking for is basic fairness. You had the opportunity to have attorneys represent and interpret the position you've taken, and I would basically like to be able to do the same. As I mentioned earlier, you presented several matters of assertion and fact in your opening remarks, and I would like to be able to make a response to that. I'd like to do so with the assistance of counsel. May I have that fairness permitted?
Right now, that motion is denied, Trustee Aquino. You're welcome to put that to a board vote if you'd like to appeal the ruling of the chair.
Okay, thank you. Let me respond now. It's important for us to keep the issues clear. The issue on the table was, did I or my colleagues represent OHA? As I mentioned earlier, we did not. Speaking as individuals in our official capacity, we have, by the bylaws of OHA, the right to appeal to the First Amendment of the United States and even the Constitution, and even if we disagree, to be able to state what that disagreement is. Today at the table here, each and every one of us trustees is speaking in our official and individual capacity, and we're speaking things that differ and things that are at odds with what each other is saying. Nothing any individual says constitutes the position of the board. So I would deny that assertion that I or other trustees purported to represent the Board of Trustees by speaking the truth. Now, when is it necessary to do this? As much as possible, and I believe my record shows, I have attempted to be in harmony with the board. The vast majority of votes, the vast majority of comments that I've made regarding the matters of OHA have been in harmony with the board, because that is my goal. But there are times when that's not possible, when we have to be true to our consciences. And that's why we must recognize that first and foremost, our fiduciary duty is not to the board for loyalty to the board, but it is to the beneficiaries and to the Constitution. The reason it has to be to the beneficiaries and the Constitution is that they rise above what may happen amongst board members. It's possible that a majority of the board may make mistakes in judgment or in ethics, and it's necessary for some to rise up and speak against that. Not only is it necessary, it is our fiduciary duty to do so. For to be silent when there is wrong taking place condoned by our peers is to concur with that wrong. We don't have that privilege to do that. So that's been the reason I've responded. Now, many statements have been made, some by my colleague, Trustee Souza, dealing with my identity, my motives, my circumstances, and so forth. Mr. Souza is an excellent orator and debater, and he's a better communicator in general, I feel, than I am. And I respect that greatly. But what he's demonstrated is what debaters would call argumentum ad hominem circumstantial. In other words, that's when you don't address the actual issue and the substance, but what you address is the circumstances or personal factors in the one making it. And I want to call my colleagues to address only the issues at hand and not to allow ourselves to say things to each other or about each other that are less than worthy to be said. With that said, I just want to repeat, I do hold in the highest esteem my colleagues. I know that we are differing in our opinions now, but I believe that I speak on behalf of all of us in our hearts when I say we have to speak the truth when we see the need to stand up for our beneficiaries. Thank you.
Vice Chair Souza.
Mahalo, Mr. Chair. If I wasn't clear earlier, I apologize. The issue at hand, again, Trustee Aquino, if you didn't hear me clearly earlier, the issue at hand is 4 trustees filed a response to Stacy Ferreira's amended complaint on behalf of the organization, the Office of Foreign Affairs. Now, Trustee Akaka had filed this. It wasn't John Mackey. It was Trustee Akaka in her individual and official capacity. Someone had advised her to do that, right? So my question would be again, and if it wasn't clear, Trustee Aquino, on my question, I apologize to you. Who gave John Mackey the authority to file on behalf of 4 trustees who do not represent the Office of Hawaiian Affairs? The majority of this board represents the Office of Hawaiian Affairs and that decision that was made.
Thank you.
So, I'm not finished, Trustee Akaka. Thank you, Aquino. So, my question would be, there was a statement in there that said the 4 agreed. How is the 4 trustees able to agree on a huge decision? I mean, that decision went out there admitting wrongdoing on every count. Now, if you're not working with Stacy Ferreira and her attorneys, I mean, anybody who's been sued in their individual and official capacity, the first thing to do is file a motion to drop the complaint. Not admit to wrongdoing on every count and then end with, let's award her maximum damages. I don't know anyone who would give the house away as easy as that, unless you are trying to dismantle this organization and play like we're the good guys. The thing is here, ladies and gentlemen, the majority trustees, whether you like it or not, goes through the process. I believe in the process. This process, again, was adopted by this board, voted upon, deliberated. And that's what we are following. By voting for it, you asked us to uphold that policy. And that's what we're doing. So again, I would like to be very clear. I'm asking the question, Mr. Chair, and I hope to get a response, not from the attorney, who was authorized, obviously, to file this, or advise Kaleakaka in her individual and official capacity to file it. I want to know how the 4 trustees were able to agree on something without having an agendized meeting, Mr. Chair, whether in executive session or open session.
Thanks, Vice Chair Souza. That's a fair question. Trustee Aquino, would you like to respond before we go to
Yes.
Trustee Wahe?
I believe that our response to the complaint that has been made by Trustee Souza is evident in.
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
Point of order is recognized by Vice Chair Souza.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
State your point of order for a potential rule that's being violated by the board's governance.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't see anything on this agenda that references a complaint made by Trustee Souza. Trustee Aquino has been reverting to that the entire time.
Okay, I rule in favor of that. That is not on this agenda this time. That will be addressed at a later date. So Trustee Aquino, I think
you, Mr.
specifically what Trustee Souza is asking is the complaint asserts that all 4 individuals in their individual and official capacity agreed to file this complaint. And the question is, how could 4 trustees, without a duly agendized meeting of the board, come to that agreement without violating the state sunshine laws?
And Mr. Chair, real quick, if I may clarify, Trustee Aquino doesn't need to be the one to respond. There were 4 trustees involved, and they all agreed on the record.
Sure.
So I'm okay with getting a response from any of the 4 trustees, Akaka, Alapa, Lindsay, or Aquino, who filed without board authorization. Mahalo.
Chair Emerita Lindsay, since you chaired this board for almost 5 years, would you like to respond to that?
I'd like to stand on our response to the complaint by Trustee Souza.
Again, point of order, Mr. Chair.
Okay. We're not here to speak about the complaint that the Vice Chair Souza has submitted to the chairperson's office. That was distributed to everyone last week. We are here to speak to the docket 162 that yourself, Chair Emerita, along with the 3 other trustees, somehow came to an agreement on without a duly agendized meeting, which purportedly violated the state sunshine law and authorized Mr. Mackey through his firm to make that filing last week. And what we are trying to understand, and I think what's important for the general public to understand, is how did the four of you come to that conclusion without violating the sunshine law, and how did the four of you come to that belief that you could make that filing in your official capacity as Office of Hawaiian Affairs Trustees without that being approved by the majority of this board? That is the question that he is asking. Chair Merida.
I had individual meetings with John Mackey and gave him my input.
Everett, docket 162, does it specifically indicate that the individuals that were filing this docket agreed to file the docket? I mean, I'm trying to figure out how could it be possible for them to file this without them being able to consult with each other, or have Mr. Mackey consult with each other trustee, which would violate the state sunshine law, because that would be a serial communication.
Yeah.
So that's a question for Everett.
I don't have a direct response to that question, Chair Kahele. In numerous places, the four trustees are said to either admit or answer to the allegations in the amended complaint. I don't have in front of me whether or not there's a specific agreement made through the answer.
Okay, and then Everett, just before we move on to Trustee Waihe'e, in referencing, there's been a lot of reference by Trustee Akina to the state's constitution and to OHA's bylaws, and I'm referencing Hawaii Revised Statutes 10-4, which is the Office of Hawaiian Affairs and its established general powers. The first one of them would be to adopt, amend, and repeal bylaws governing the conduct of its business and the performance of the powers and duties granted to it or imposed on it by law. So, Everett, I'm assuming that the Hawaii Revised Statutes gives the OHA board the power to adopt, amend, or repeal its bylaws. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and when reviewing our bylaws, the bylaws specifically state that a simple majority of the board, as referenced as the board, is a majority of 5 board members. Is that correct?
Yes, aside from limited situations where there's an adoption of policy or amendment to the bylaws, yes, the majority controls the actions of the board and the directions of the board.
Okay, so simple yes or no answer that this filing, docket 162, was not authorized, did not have the 5 trustee board votes needed to adopt a simple majority position of the board, and that therefore was not supported by the board and was not permitted by, and actually in violation of, our internal governance documents, which are our board's bylaws. Yes or no?
Sorry, I'm trying to track the multiple parts of that question, but no, the answer was not filed in under a majority vote of the board.
Okay, so their filing was not authorized by the OHA Board of Trustees. Yes or no?
That's correct. It was not authorized by a majority of the Board of Trustees.
Which ultimately is speaking on behalf of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs in its a simple majority of the board? Yes or no?
I'm sorry, Chair, you broke up a little bit on that last question that you had asked me.
My question was, if the filing was not authorized by 5 members of the Board of Trustees, which our bylaws require a simple majority, then how could that be the official position of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs?
It cannot.
Okay. Trustee Waihe.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Joe, I have a question. So in this docket, they accuse, I'm accused in this docket of acting jointly and in concert of conspiring with one another to unlawfully remove Ferreira as administrator in her response to her whistleblowing activity against Kahele. That's what they accuse me of. Now, conspiring means to secretly plan with others to commit an illegal, wrongful, or harmful act. On that day, I went to the meeting, and I wasn't even sure of what was going to be on that executive session, and I sat in on it. And I'm not going to talk about what happened because it's confidential, but I'm not a lawyer, and there was a counsel there advising us, and all I did was vote on the advice of counsel. Now, in your opinion, does that constitute conspiring my actions on that day?
I will answer that specific question. Because we are in public session, I'd be happy to answer that to you directly,
Yes.
privately. I will give you a general response that during executive sessions, the statements that board members make, and I mentioned this before, this is why you're protected, those are privileged statements. They are protected from claims of defamation, conspiracy, etc. So anything you say in executive session is privileged and protected when acting in your official capacity as a trustee.
Okay, hypothetically, would going to a meeting and taking the advice of counsel, any meeting, and never having discussed that issue with anybody on the board, and voting on it, and coincidentally having your votes aligned with several people at that same board, does that constitute conspiring? No. So that's not true.
It's not true.
They lied when they said I conspired.
It's the problem with why this was filed without a board vote.
Okay.
The process is, if they want to file this, they present it in an agendized meeting. We look at the filing, we discuss it, and we vote.
Hypothetically, could such a accusation be considered slander or defamation of character?
It's normally things filed with court or not.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Trustee Ahuna.
Oh, thank you, Chair. For me, I just think this is very reckless. And the reason why I've been here for a while. People know I've been here a while. I started off with black hair. It's all white. I've been here a while, and I know the signs is what I'm trying to say. I experienced the signs. And what we're doing is, it's the same thing happening over and over. People trying to exploit our differences. And it's the same thing over and over. But the thing that gets me is, we as trustees, we try to protect the veil of this. And right now, it's just like somebody is opening it up. And we're just open for all kinds of liabilities. And for me, what I'm afraid of is some of us is falling into the trap. And this trap is not a good trap. It's the same, exploit the differences, but it's actually a trap. And the reason why I feel it's a trap is because I'm here trying to say whatever I'm feeling, but yet I'm not hearing any of you guys say anything. And that concerns me. That really tells me that You all have the chance to speak right here at the table, and you're not giving us the opportunity to even understand what you're trying to say. Your silence is not helping us. And these questions are actually being directed at you guys, and you guys are not saying anything. Those are concerns, you guys. We are not trying to silence you guys. One of you have sued this board before, and the rest is falling in line, right into the trap. Understand what I'm saying. Know your beneficiaries. You have a voice. Use it. If you're not using it, don't blame us. And stop calling each individual. This is us. It's not about I, me, you. It's us. It's we. La hui. La hui. 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 Oh my God. Speak, you guys, please. I want to hear you guys. Don't be silent. You guys talk about billion-dollar trust. Well, don't open it up to get sued. Speak.
Thanks, Trustee Ahuna. Vice Chair Souza, and then we go to Trustee Aquino.
Well, Mr. Chair, I would like to also say on the record, when we voted to place Stacy on leave, right? Kalea Kaka was the 6th vote. I just want to make note of that. It wasn't 5 conspiring. Again, there was counsel in the room, advised us, we took a vote. Again, going through the process. Trustee Akaka, who filed this response in her individual and official capacity, in response to Stacy's amended complaint, voted, to place then CEO Stacy Ferreira on administrative leave. I'd just like to make note, because she is now one of the 4 minority trustees who's going against what she voted for. I heard, in addition to that, Mr. Chair, I heard Trustee Aquino say, speaking as individuals in our official capacity. I want to make note that that may be a reason, or not a reason, a way to circumvent policies. According to what Trustee Aquino said, speaking as individuals in our official capacity. I think they may be using that to try and get around policies and procedures that they adopted. Ultimately, at the end of the day, Mr. Chair, again, we have one job to do: protect OHA's mission, fight for our beneficiaries. And that's what this leadership team, the 5, Trustee Waihe'e, Trustee Galuterio, Trustee Ahuna, Chair Kahele, and myself, is trying to do. Mahalo.
Thank you, Vice Chair Souza. Trustee Aquino?
Thank you. Mr. Chair, referring back to your last line of questioning with Everett, I do want to say that it's important to recognize that I have not, and I don't think my 3 other colleagues have, at all tried to represent the board of OHA. We have not gone to the court with that. We have not gone to the public with that. All I have done is spoken truthfully to questions that have been asked. And that it represents me in my individual and official capacity. And as I've pointed out earlier, when we speak as trustees in our individual and official capacities, we're allowed to be divergent from what other trustees say. That's not only something we're allowed to do at times, it's something that is absolutely necessary, especially when it's important to stand up and voice a differing point of view for the sake of being Pono. And that's what has taken place. That's the issue. But we've been exposed today to questions about motives, questions about process that have very little to do with the actual substance of what's taking place. Right now, as you yourself opened up the content to, this board, in the opinion of myself and some others, has taken actions adverse to the Lahui in the treatment of Stacy Ferreira. we're not here to defend her per se or her case per se, but we're here simply, as always, to tell the truth. And I hope at the end of the day, we won't look at formality and procedure alone. What we will look at is what's the right thing to do? What's the right way to treat people? What's the right way to come to truth when we disagree with one another? What's the right way to enter ho'oponopono? All these things which I have recommended and suggested, as well as others have recommended and suggested. I agree with Trustee Souza and what he just said, that we do have a common direction. Let's work toward that. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Aquina. And you know what, that may work, Trustee Aquina, at a public policy think tank, but not work here at the OHA on Affairs, where we have something called the state's constitution, internal bylaws. And so I can only summarize your statements as either being gross incompetence of the internal governance of the Office of Foreign Affairs or misguided legal strategy or opinion by the attorney that you say represents you.
Mr. Chair, may I respond?
Vice Chair Souza is recognized.
Madam Mr. Chair. Trustee Aquina, you stated earlier that you haven't gone to the court to represent this organization. I don't understand what that means, because supposedly you guys filed this in your official capacity. I want it on record, everyone to know out there, that the only people who should be acting in their individual and official capacity is the 5 trustees and interim CEO, Summer Silva. We are still being sued in our individual and official capacity, while 4 trustees, it's not hard to figure out, 4 trustees were dropped in their individual capacity. And then they file something saying, let's award Stacy Ferreira maximum damages. We're admitting to all wrongdoing on every count. It's not hard to figure out. The media, our beneficiaries watching at home, people in this room who weren't privy to previous executive sessions, to figure out that there's a game being played here. We've heard it from the judge as well. There's a game being played here. Sooner or later, they're going to figure it out. There's no way you guys can continue on violating policies, ethical standards, sunshine law. This board will address those issues, and we'll make sure we carry on and continue to do the good we've been doing. Mahalo, Mr. Chair.
Trustee Galutaria.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'm pretty much like everybody else. We'd like to see this wrap up as soon as possible. But, Trustee Aquina, since you mentioned truth, 162 is a pretty lengthy document. And Trustee Waihehe mentioned one untruth.
Lie.
And so, Joe, have you folks drilled down on this document to identify the untruths that are being put forth? Because, you know, that's defamation too. So, have you folks actually had a chance to take a look and really identify some of these, I don't know if the lies is the best word for it, but I'll just say untruths.
Yes. Thank you, Trustee. Yes,
Yeah.
we have. Be happy to discuss that in executive session or one-on-one when I'm able to do that. I unfortunately cannot do that in public, but just as Trustee Waihe said, that there are multiple provenly false statements.
Okay, just a follow-up, Chair. Does that, would we be willing to sue for defamation if we decide individually?
As I mentioned, generally court filings are not subject to
Okay.
the defamation laws.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, going back to Trustee Aquina now, because I know he wanted to make a comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was just following up on your statement that, and I paraphrase that my lack of understanding with regard to the law or my lack of competence with regard to my practice as a trustee may be a factor here. And humbly, I say that's always going to be the case, but I don't think that is the case here, as I have offered documents which have been submitted to you already, which indicate the legal reasoning behind the positions that we've taken and the defense and explanation of them as well. You have had the privilege of having attorneys represent your point of view here and explain it, and the ability to appeal to them at the table, a privilege that I and 3 other trustees have not had, although we have a legitimate attorney that was allowed by OHA and OHA's insurer for these matters. That's my response, and I think that as we go forward, you will find that what I have authorized to be written represents my position in a more formal manner. Thank you.
Okay, then a follow-up. So Trustee Aquino, are you saying that your filing that you authorized was with the support and the legal guidance by your lawyer, Mr. Mackey?
Yes, I authorized. Oh, answer the question, Mr. Mackey.
Okay, then.
To make.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
My answer is yes.
Okay, then I would assert that your lawyer has misguided and wrongly advised you if you think that your answer filed in your official capacity in docket 162 does not wrongly implicate the Office of Wine Affairs and its Board of Trustees. And that is why Mr. Mackey is not at this table today, because he does not have the authorization to speak for this board or speak to this board. Any other trustees for discussion?
Trustee Souza has his hand up.
Okay, seeing none, I'm going to table the discussion period
Mr.
this
Chair.
time.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, I'm sorry. Vice Chair Souza.
Real quick, since we had an admittance from Trustee Aquino that he authorized John Mackey to file, and then have potentially John Mackey authorize Kaleakaka to do the filing in her individual and official capacity, I would like to know on record if Trustee Lindsay, Trustee Alapa, and Trustee Akaka also gave authorization, and then most especially Trustee Akaka, who put her name on this document officially. I would like to know if they gave authorization to John Mackey.
Chair Merida? Trustee Alapa?
Since this complaint has been made public, I'd like to stand on the response and ask that it be made a public part of this record of this meeting today. Thank you.
Is that an answer to Trustee Souza's question?
Just a statement, that's it.
I didn't get a response, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
From Trustee Alapa.
Trustee Akaka? Did you authorize docket 162's filing? I'm sorry, I'm either having audio issues or there's complete silence.
We can hear you, Chair.
Vice Chair?
We can hear you, Chair. And again, on record, I'd like to
So
say...
no response by Trustee Akaka whether or not she authorized this?
Her name is clearly on the filing, so I would like to know if she actually did, and that is her name there on the filing as an individual and official capacity trustee.
Everett or Joe, Could someone file a legal filing in court without the authorization of the individual?
Yes. Anything can be filed in the court if you have access to the JEFS system. Yeah.
No, I guess my question is, but the individual, the person, would have to authorize an attorney or the legal team or someone to make that filing, right?
Under the
Like,
rules of
if I don't give you permission, you couldn't file something in my name.
Right. Under the rules of professional conduct in Hawaii, that client approval is required.
And also, Mr. Chair, if I may follow up on that.
Well, I would want to say that if someone did file a filing without an individual's authorization, a highly respected law firm, that could potentially be a Rule 11 violation.
Yeah.
And I just want to note, for the record, the silence coming from Trustee Akaka, because this board has been, at least this majority has been accused of silencing by the leadership team. And there is no silencing today. We, in full view, would like every trustee to get a chance to say something. And it takes a lot to convene a board meeting. It takes a lot of time, resources, and energy. And this is the opportunity to speak in full public view. We welcome that. We encourage that. And I think you've seen this majority team speak on multiple occasions, and we have not heard the same from some of our other colleagues, and we wish we would. Trustee Ahuna.
Yeah, thank you. With all due respect, when you silence yourself and then you blame others, that game is called victim. And all I ask, with all due respect, is to speak up for your side. Stop talking about all the things that you say you didn't have. You have opportunity. Take advantage. With all due respect, I'm telling you guys with all due respect, if you silence yourself and you blame others, that's the same scenario that has been going on. We exploit our differences, we get it all out, but we don't say nothing and we just blame. You guys, stand up. I'm begging you guys. Our Lahui is watching. I was asking you guys, this is not healthy for our Lahui. You cannot say things outside of this and blame, but when you come to the table, this very table where we speak to each other and say absolutely nothing. Your beneficiaries is getting nothing from you guys. Because guess what you get with nothing? Nothing.
Vice Chair Souza.
Mauli, Mr. Chair, and this will be my last statement. And Trustee Ahuna just stated that earlier, and we've all stated when we spoke up, the majority, it's really about beneficiaries. At the end of the day, our beneficiaries need to know what's happening here. We're using their resources from our trust, potential grants opportunities, down payment assistance programs. Those monies to defend what's right are being taken away from our beneficiaries because there's 4 trustees, Trustee Akina, Trustee Lindsay, Trustee Alapa, and Trustee Akaka, who are negligently filing on behalf of this organization without any authorization from this body. Mahalo, Chair.
Yeah, thank you. It is disappointing that some of our trustees are choosing to literally not say a single thing because When you have no voice, your island, your community has no representation. And that is not a good place to be. Okay, anyone else raise their hand to speak? Lehua?
No one else has their hand up for the trustees. No.
Okay, great. Well, the chair would like to make one final observation before we proceed to a... Oh, Trustee Aquino's hand is raised?
He just raised his hand.
Okay, we got... I saw Trustee Aquino first before Trustee Wahe, so let me recognize Trustee Aquino, then we'll go to Trustee Wahe.
I can only guess as to why some of my colleagues have not spoken up more. And part of that guess would be, it's very difficult to speak up when you are asked legally sensitive questions and not allowed to have your legal counsel present. And I think that, in all fairness, they have much to say and have already said it in writing. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Aquino. But at this current time, all of you are sitting at this board table as official trustees of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. And the legal team you're referring to does not represent this board. That is why he has not been given an opportunity to speak.
Trustee Wahe.
Trustee Wahe, you're recognized.
Thank you. Ultimately, I do hope, my hope is going forward that these kinds of things don't continue to happen. At the very least, if they, don't have lies in them. So I'm going to try to say some nice things to end it. The progress OHA has made, because the progress that was made, the past 18 months with all of us working together has been great. And we've done a lot of things, implemented agent-wide salary increases, expanded benefits, developed opportunities, bylaws, EPMs, investment, and real estate policies are monumental achievements. We're a board that has achieved a great deal together, all of us have, in service to Lalahui. And I feel like this litigation was designed to explore our differences, but we don't have to let it continue to do so. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Trustee Wahe. The chair will now close the discussion period, and I'd like to make one final observation before we proceed to an action. This board and this chair fully respects the right of every trustee to dissent. Every trustee may bring any matter they wish to this board for consideration, for lengthy discussion, for healthy debate, and ultimately for a vote. Vigorous disagreement during deliberations is not only permitted, as you saw today, but it is highly encouraged. That's how good governance works. It only works if you speak up, though. However, there is a fundamental difference between dissenting within the deliberative process and taking unilateral action in one's official capacity that directly contradicts a duly adopted board decision. Once this board has voted, every trustee in their official capacity has a duty of loyalty to that decision. You cannot vote whether yes or no at the board table and then go file a pleading in court purporting to bind OHA to the very opposite position. That is not dissent, that is insubordination to the collective authority of this board. So the chair will now move to make the following action for the board's consideration. It is an action directing the withdrawal of unauthorized filing, docket number 162, and reaffirming the board's governance authority. The chair moves that the Board of Trustees directs Trustees Lindsay, Akaka, Akina, and Alapa to immediately withdraw docket number 162 from the Circuit Court. It directs the aforementioned trustees to refrain from making any court filings or taking any other actions in their official capacities on behalf of the board unless such actions have first been properly agendized, deliberated on, and approved by a majority of the board in accordance with applicable law and our board policies in our board bylaws. It affirms that every trustee retains the right to bring any matter before the board for consideration through the board's established governance processes, reaffirms that once the board has taken official action, trustees acting in their official capacities owe a duty of loyalty to the board and are expected to uphold and implement duly adopted board decisions. And finally, it declares that adoption of this motion, this action, constitutes the official action of the board authorizing and directing the immediate withdrawal of docket number 162, and that no further board action shall be required to carry out this directive. Trustees, there is an action before the board. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Seeing
Trustee
none,
Akina.
roll call vote.
Trustee Akina has his hand up. Chair, I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Okay, I'm sorry, I did not see that. Trustee Akina?
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, as I have stated earlier, I have taken no actions to
Yep, Trustee
bind-
Akina, if you can hear me, you are recognized.
Thank you. Can you hear me, Mr. Chair? Can you hear me, Mr. Chair?
Yep, I can hear you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
As mentioned earlier, I have taken no actions to bind or to represent the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. And so there would be no meaning for me to respond to this measure as something directing me, and I would add, or my colleagues to do. Therefore, I will abstain from participation in a vote on it.
Okay, thank you so much, Trustee Akina. That is noted, but that is factually inaccurate, and that is just plainly not correct. So thank you, Trustee Akina. Vice Chair Souza?
Yeah, I'd like to reaffirm that statement you just made, Mr. Chair. Trustee Akina has clearly stated in that filing his name. And so I'd like to make note that that is 100% untrue, and he has taken action without the board authorization to file that. Mahalo.
Everett, can I ask a clarifying question before we move to a vote?
Yes, I'm available, Chair.
I know we keep beating a dead horse here, but, and this could be you or Joe, a filing in official capacity, in a trustee's official capacity, is a filing on behalf of the agency.
Correct.
Say that one more time, Joe.
Yeah. Yes, that is correct, Chair.
Yes, a filing in an official capacity, which Trustee Akina is in right now and was in when this was filed, is a filing on behalf of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. I don't understand how that is not crystal clear for Trustee Akina, but thank you for clarifying that. I will also note that Trustees Alapa and Lindsay have left the board table. Lehua, roll call vote.
Trustee Ahuna,
Yes.
Trustee Akaka, Trustee Akina,
Abstain.
Trustee Alapa has left the meeting. Trustee Galuteria,
Aye.
Trustee Lindsay has left the meeting. Trustee Souza,
Aye.
Trustee Waihe'e,
Yes.
Chair Kahele,
Aye.
And Trustee Akaka.
O'ole.
I have one Aole, one abstention, and 5 yes votes. Motion passes.
Okay, the action is adopted. Let the record and the motion reflect that the Office of Hawaiian Affairs Board of Trustees has directed the immediate withdrawal of docket 162 and that this action constitutes the approved board action authorizing that withdrawal. No further board action is required. The 4 named trustees, Akina, Alapa, Lindsay, and Akaka, are directed to instruct their counsel at Goodsill, Anderson, Quinn, and Stifel, LLP, to file a notice of withdrawal with the court forthwith. I believe there is no other business to come before this board today. Lehua, do we have anyone signed up to speak under community concerns and celebrations?
Yes, we have one person. We have Ohana Unity Party.
Okay, great. Please welcome them to our discussion.
Guys, well, thank you for the wonderful meeting as the world turns. Oh, I'm glad you guys got to discuss it. Not sure what's going to happen since we couldn't hear for some of the trustees. Obviously, some of them are attorneys. I'm not an attorney, and they can't have their legal counsel, so some they just won't say anything. They'll plead first. I know that they're filing as individual members because they're doing it as a U.S. citizen, blah, 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 blah. I'm not a trustee yet, but it's very concerning to me. If somebody gets a job, okay, anyone can sue me as an individual capacity and blah, 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 blah. So that is very concerning, and I'm going to repeat what I'm concerned about, which is the Hawaiian Council Convention. I know that you guys use them as through Kuhio Lewis and everyone else, Kumihino Wong, who's also trying to be a trustee, is that they're going to use that for the convention. But when you try to sign up, they got beautiful ads, dancing, Alaska, blah, 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 blah. It's $300 a ticket. So if you want you and your family of 4, that's $1,200. There's a discounted rate if you're a member, and I'm not sure how much the membership costs, to $225. But that's still expensive. So I'm not sure if OHA can help subsidize the cost for people who do want to attend. Or I have a better idea. How about they just hire Olelo TV and they live stream the whole thing so everyone can watch it from Niihau and ever, not paying for hotels, everything else, transportation and costs. To me, that's a better budget. And I am concerned about a lot of other things, but, you know, with how you guys are treating each other, I'm concerned for the future of why would somebody want to do this when you're going to get sued and you got to watch your back? And I can see your guys' facial expressions from home, from Zoom, and I'm watching on Facebook. I'm sharing with Mauna Kea Group, Kukai Mauna, Maui, City Council, everyone else, and even got blocked on Facebook comments, so I couldn't put the comments below. I can see the pressure. I can see what's going on, but if you got 4 people, then you have to do your job as a fiduciary responsibility, and they already filed it as individual capacity. Yes, you're going to ask them to withdraw the lawsuit, but me, I have a sense of feeling. They'll be stubborn, and they're probably not going to withdraw it and probably take and go to court. And so it's August 6th. We got the primary August 8th. I invited everyone else to lunch because I want to pick your guys' brains. But I'm still inviting you guys out to lunch. But we're going to be on a Burger King budget because I want to be sued for all that stuff. You know, 3 for $10. You can choose Whopper Jr. chicken sandwich, and we can talk story. But I am concerned for all of this stuff, and I'm not sure what you guys are going to do about this. But happy birthday to all whoever's going to be their birthday. That's my announcements. I'll see you guys next time in the next meeting. Hope to see you at the future events that are coming up. May the force be with you always. Aloha.
Thank you. Who has anyone else signed up to speak for community concerns and celebrations?
No one else has signed up.
Okay, we have some announcements to make. The chair would like to announce that on Monday and Tuesday, July 27th and 28th, the Office of Hawaiian Affairs will be on the island of Molokai. On Wednesday, July 29th, will be the convening of our 3 standing committee meetings. And then on Thursday, July 30th, will be the next scheduled board meeting. Trustees, are there any other announcements? Who has anyone of our trustees' hands raised for any announcements?
No one else has their hand raised.
Okay, great. So before we go to a motion to adjourn, I want to just close with this. And I know there are people watching in the community. I know we have members of the media that joined us today. I want to emphasize to all of you that the strength of the Board of Trustees of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs lies in our ability to deliberate, to disagree, and ultimately to speak with one voice once a decision is made. That is the foundation of fiduciary governance. Today's action by this board is not about silencing dissent. It is about preserving the integrity of this board's collective authority and protecting the beneficiaries that we all serve. Every trustee, all 9 of us, remains free to agendize items, propose alternatives, create ad hoc committees, champion issues that they feel passionate about, and advocate for different positions at any duly noticed meeting. But no individual trustee, not the chair, not a standing committee chair, or any trustee, and no group of trustees can act outside the Board of Trustees process and attempt to bind the Office of Hawaiian Affairs or undermine its authorized legal positions through unilateral action. So with that, I would like to call for a motion to adjourn, and we will conclude today's meeting of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. Vice Chair, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Akaka. Aye. Trustee Akina.
Aye.
Trustee Alapa has left the meeting. Trustee Galuteria.
Aye.
Trustee Lindsay left the meeting. Trustee Souza.
Aye.
Trustee Waihe'e.
Yes.
Chair Kahele.
Aye.
We have 7 yes votes. We are adjourned.